I can tell how successful somebody is and how much someone will win in their lives by how quickly they're able to bounce back and get back up and keep fucking going. Without the failure, there's no opportunity, there's no lesson, there's no character development, and that's the big piece. It's like at the end of the day, when we take it all away, when we take away the abs, the clothes, the car, the house, the relationship, whatever, if we take it all away, what are you left with? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Beyond Belt Podcast. This is the podcast to help you become the most powerful, confident leader that you can be. And man, has it been a long time since that is the intro that you've heard on this podcast. If you listen to episodes 1 through 50, you will hear that as the intro to about every single one of those episodes. And it's been a minute since we've done that. We transitioned and brought the Beyond Boat podcast into the More Than Just Physical show. We attempted to bring on guest episodes, and to be honest, I love this kind of episode. The short 5, 10, 15, 20 minute quick hitter where I just deliver a message that I'm fired up about, that I'm passionate about, that I just really want to give to you guys. And to be honest, I resonate with that message. The message of becoming the most powerful, confident leader you can be. Guys, I'm just going to address this first and foremost. We live in a world right now that's it's crazy. It's nuts out there. It's super unsettled. I think a lot of people feel uncertain. A lot of people are questioning so many things. And this world right now just needs leaders. And by leaders, I define a leader as somebody who's happy, who's confident, who's fulfilled, who's on fire, who's on purpose, who genuinely just wants to give and help other people around them win. And that's how I feel today. I feel like I just really want to deliver this message. I feel, again, very passionate about it. I think that it can help you listening wherever you are right now, help you step up and be the person in your life that, man, inspires change in your direct environment, in your relationship, in your business, in your work environment. That's who I really, really want you to be, because at the end of the day, we need more people like you. We need more people that want to step up. We need more people that want to win big, that want to accomplish a hell of a lot, that want to inspire people. Because, man, when I tell you again, the world's a weird fucking place. A really weird fucking place. And if you're not careful, you can fall into the abyss of negativity, the abyss of self-doubt, and the abyss of uncertainty. And man, again, there's going to be a lot of people, and there's probably somebody already who's looking at you as somebody who is going to give them certainty in their lives, and you need to step up for them. But most importantly, you need to step up for yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now that you're not going to be able to step up for yourself, and you're not going to be able to win, you're not going to be able to succeed, you're not going to be able to give, you're not going to be able to lead if you're unwilling to fail. And this is exactly the message that I'm going to deliver to you today, is that failure is necessary. It is absolutely necessary. I was going to say, without fail, but without fail, it is absolutely necessary to fail in order to succeed, in order to win, in order to give. And we all know that when we're giving, we feel grateful. When we're giving, we feel alive. When we're giving, we know we have grown. You can't give unless you have grown. And when you're growing and when you're making progress, you feel alive. But guys, to make progress, you had to fail first. You had to fail first. You have to. It builds your stomach. It raises your waterline. Personally, for me, if I didn't lose a bunch of muscle mass and crash my metabolism, my first ever attempt at dieting, and just end up binging uncontrollably even throughout that diet, but especially post-diet, going into do a 10,000 calorie challenge and masking it as a YouTube video, and the reality was my relationship with food fucking sucked and I couldn't get food off of my mind. If I didn't go through that, if I didn't fail through that, I wouldn't be able to teach people what I know about nutrition today. I wouldn't be able to intuitive eat and feel incredible and feel so confident in the body and the physique that I'm in right now. I wouldn't have just incredible blood markers and hormone markers on my blood work if I didn't know how to eat so well, but most importantly, not consume my entire life around food. But here's the thing, I had to go through it. I had to go through it. I had to test myself. I had to fail. I had to challenge myself. I had to honestly go through having a poor relationship with food to be able to come out on the other side and be like, fuck, I struggled. And because I learned so much, I have so much to give to you, to lead you. And to be honest, I look back at that and people are like, dude, man, that must have been so hard. That must have been so difficult. And while it was, I look at that as something that I'm so grateful for. Fuck, man, if I didn't go through that, if I didn't experience that, I want to be able to deliver the messages that I get to deliver today to the world, to you listening right now. And that's what fills up my cup. That's what makes me happy, right? So, man, you have to think that way. So many people are afraid of failure. They're I don't want to I don't want to even track macros. I'm scared that I'll become too obsessed, or, oh man, like, I don't know if I could, I don't know if I could start my own business. Like, I wouldn't want to let everything go to like go down this path and then fail and then regret it. And then, like, there's so many stories that people feed themselves. And especially, again, at a time in the world like this where a lot of people are uncertain and a lot of people are falling back into zones of comfort to protect themselves. Like, you can either go down that path, or you could be like, fuck it, I'm going to take big risks. I'm going to take big leaps, because at the end of the day, I know that it's thrive or die right now. The last time we were here was the fucking pandemic. 2019, 2020, everybody was questioning themselves. Everybody was so uncertain. And few people just said, I'm going to go all in on me. I'm going to win. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to go all in on my health. And it changed the course and the direction of their lives forever. Forever as in like the last like 4 or 5 years. But you know what I mean? Some people really fucking struggled and are paying the price of that a couple years later. And they're like, fuck, if I don't get it together now, when am I ever going to get it together? And if you're not careful, you're going to be like, oh shit, times are uncertain, times are challenging right now, I can just keep pushing it off and pushing it off. I'm like, no. Like, you are paying the costs of all the choices you have made in your life, throughout your life. Like, that's for everybody. And to be honest with you, I think the cost of making the same decisions you've made your entire life and staying in your comfort zone is much higher of a price than the cost of failing forward, making mistakes, learning from those, and growing further and further and further from them. Like, I tell this to our clients all the time that start up with us. It's literally part of our onboarding process. It's like, you're gonna fail. You might not want to hear this right now, and you might think it's all sunshine and rainbows once we get started with this and we start giving your program and we start checking in and all this stuff. But like, hey, you're gonna fail. Like, you're gonna suck, and that's okay, because we all suck sometimes. But the difference is, we're going to pick you back up with grace and understanding, and we're going to train you how to get back up faster and faster and faster. And that's the fucking game of winning. That's the fucking game of succeeding. Like, I can tell how successful somebody is and how much someone will win in their lives by how quickly they're able to bounce back and get back up and keep fucking going. Like, without the failure, there's no opportunity, there's no lesson, there's no character development, and that's the big piece. It's like, at the end of the day, when we take it all away, when we take away the abs, the clothes, the car, the house, even the relationship, whatever, if we take it all away, what are you left with? We're left with you. We're left with your character. We're left with who you are. And at the end of the day, everything that you have in life and everything that you accomplish in your life is a byproduct of who you are, right? Well, what develops you into the person that you are? Sure, choices do. Sure, experiences do. But let's dive a little bit deeper into experience right there, right? What experiences can you look back on in your life and be like, fuck, that was hard as shit. But if I didn't go through that, man, like, I wouldn't be here. Like, imagine if you just went back and erased those experiences from your life, where you just wish you grew up in a different environment, or you wish you made a different choice here, or if you're like me, you wish that you became a collegiate athlete. Well, what if you went back and changed all those things and erased those things? Well, you wouldn't be who you are today. And sure, you can have some people that are like, man, I'd still go back and want to change those things. Well, that's victim fucking mentality. That's wishing shit was different about your life because you're unwilling to take action right now. Because you're unwilling to put and invest energy into a fucking bigger vision for yourself down the line. That's where I think a lot of people get stuck. Oh, I wish shit was different. I'm too scared to set a vision and chase after it and take risks and take leaps and fail because I just wish shit was fucking different. I wish shit was like the past. I wish I could go back and make different choices. That's just the person that's stuck in a comfort zone. We don't want to be that person. We don't want to be that person. Because if we're not willing to fail, if we're not willing to take that big jump, if we're not willing to take that big risk, you never cultivate courage. And I think the most courageous people are the most successful people. The most courageous people are the most confident people. The most courageous people are the ones that connect with people the best and build friend groups and environments that serve them and challenge them and inspire them to be their best. I think a lot of people are like, hey, Chad, like, how do I find an environment? How do I find like-minded people? Well, you have to become the person that really deserves to be around that kind of group, deserves a seat at that fucking table. Like, that's real shit. You got to start building the character. You start making the choices that develop you into the person that you want to be. And to be honest, the person that succeeds at a high level and wants all the things that you want, which I really, really assume strongly are, man, you want to be in a body, you want health status that is at an elite level. You want people to look at you and be like, holy fuck, that person takes care of themselves. You want people to look at you and look at you as a leader. You want people to come to you and ask you questions about how you develop, because at the end of the day, you want purpose, you want meaning, you want fulfillment in your life, right? That's what you want. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to this episode. That's why you're listening to this podcast. Well, in order to be that person, in order to be that leader, you got to gain wisdom. And that's through experience. And most importantly, that's through failure. If you want to be confident, like I said at the beginning of this episode, powerful, confident leader, well, you got to build courage. And the only way to build courage is to go through things and not around things. I got a really good question from a client the other day where she was just like, man, like, I want to share my wins and I want to share my struggles and I want to open up and I want to ask for help. But like every time I go and do that, I'm like, what are people going to think of me? Like, man, is this going to be taken the wrong way? Fuck, like, what if I'm a bother to, like, your time? What if this win isn't good enough and, like, people don't appreciate it and people don't, like it? And, like, you know, like, what if people look at me? Like, all of this shit. And I'm just like, oh, my God. I'm like, I hear you. I hear you, girl. I hear you. Like, I feel you so fucking hard right now because to this day, you don't think I'm thinking about this shit before I hit record button on this podcast? You really think I'm not hearing that shit in my own head before I hit record on this podcast? I do. And I told her, it's like, hey, like, you can do all the fucking work you want on your mindset and try to just reframe the way you're thinking and be like, I believe in you and affirm yourself. You can do that all you fucking want, but at the end of the day, you need to take physical action repetitively. You need to put in repetition. At the end of the day, I hit the record button on this podcast. Even when I hear those voices, I hit record anyways because I know once I get going, I get going. And I have built this trust in myself, this confidence in myself through cultivating courage, through building courage, through repetition, because I did it scared. I did it anyways. I hit record even though I'm going to be judged, even though this podcast is out there in the world to be judged, I hit record anyways. And I've hit the record button hundreds, probably fucking thousands of times, to be honest with you, in my life. To where the point where it's like, fuck, I'm good. I got this. I can work myself through it. I can talk myself through it. I can lead myself because I've gone through it before. You don't go through things and you don't gain that experience, you don't gain that trust, you don't gain that confidence without the reps. And reps bring failure, inevitably. You will fail, you will fall down, you will fall flat on your face. Again, like I said, I tell this to everybody that starts. It's like you're going to have days in this program with us coaching you where you miss your fucking macros and you feel like a piece of shit for it. You might even skip your check-in because you're scared of how we're going to respond. You might even try to lie in your check-in because you don't want us to hold you accountable. That's real shit. That is so fucking real. Like, there's going to be days where, like, you overeat or you undereat and you feel super fucking guilty about it. There's going to be days where you feel like you're trying to be a perfectionist with your macros and with your food and with your training and with everything, and you're going to feel exhausted. You will experience that if you care enough to fucking win. If you care enough to create an elite outcome with your physique, with your health, with your life, with your business, with your relationships, you will go through that shit. You will swing yourself to the pendulum of fucking extremes because you care. There's nothing wrong with being all or nothing. There's nothing wrong with being a fucking extremist. Because when you get to experience that, you get to fail the hardest. You get to fall flat on your face the hardest. And those that fall flat on their faces the hardest have the best stories, the best knowledge, the best wisdom, and are the best leaders. Are the people that I go to for my fucking advice. Because when somebody gives me advice, I look at them up and down, and I'm like, are you qualified to give me fucking advice with what you've gone through? What you've gone through. And if you've gone through shit and you failed a lot, yes, you're qualified to give me fucking advice. I'm going to listen to you. That's the person you want to be. That takes reps. That takes time. That takes experience. That takes being extreme at times. Feeling fucking bad about it. Feeling like you want to give up. Feeling like you want to literally just fucking draw up the white flag and quit. You're going to have those moments, and fuck, you will quit it sometimes. But when you do quit, what are you going to do? Just be like, oh, I'm not going to go down that path again? Or that's what most people do. They're like, oh, no, I'm too, like, I'm going to use macros and nutrition as an example. I'm too obsessed with macros, and I, like, the last time I did it, I didn't have a good relationship with food with it. Cool, so you're just going to intuitive eat? Yeah, I am. Cool. Are you making progress? No, I'm not. All right. Well, you can float in the middle and be afraid as fuck to go to the next level, and be afraid as fuck of failure and have no courage at all and be that person. Or you can be like, hey, I have unfinished business. If I didn't learn how to track my macros and lose fat and build muscle at a high level without getting too obsessed, without getting burnt out, then I haven't learned how to do it and build a healthy relationship with it. At some point, we swing to extremes, and we had to find ourselves in the middle. That goes for about fucking everything in life. I could make a whole separate podcast about this. I've swung to the extreme ends of the stick of a business owner, making my life all about numbers and business. I've swung extremely to the other side of the stick when it comes to nutrition, and you know, I've tried fucking dirty bulking. I'm like, hey, let me just eat as many calories as possible. I swung to the pendulum of like thinking that I needed to be perfect dialed in with my carbs, protein, and fats, and I've swung to the middle of like calories and protein going. I've found a good harmony there. But without swinging to all these different ends of the spectrum and getting through them and growing through them rather than giving up right when things get hard, I wouldn't have this intuitive nature and ability and this second nature ability to take care of myself, to lead myself, to hit record button on this podcast, to make progress in my fitness journey and get past plateaus, because I've overcome so many plateaus, I know how to get through plateaus whenever they fucking come. And instead of just giving up right when things got hard, I'm like, hey, maybe there's a better way. Maybe there's a better way. Maybe I can build a better relationship with us all. Maybe be kinder to myself throughout this process. You know, maybe there's an alternative. Maybe there's some mindset that I need to work on. Cool. And instead of just like giving up when it gets hard, let me work on this. Because failure is part of the process, right? I can get back up. I can keep going, right? How many times I'm able to get back up from failures is how successful I'm going to be. That's what defines how successful I'm going to be. And if that's the affirmation that you move forward with, you will win. You will win. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. Guys, if you try to avoid failure, you're only going to discourage yourself, shrink yourself, float around in the middle. And guys, as humans, we don't do so well when we're not making progress. It's like you think about how alive you felt and how on fire you felt about your life when you first started making progress in your fitness journey. You were probably like, Sophie, and people were coming to you for advice. I'm like, oh my God, this shit's working. Like, you started probably looking at other people that were mirrors and reflections of a prior version of yourself that didn't really take action on their health and their fitness and their self-leadership. And you look at them and it's like, oh my God, you guys are fucking lazy. Like, what the fuck? Like, get it fucking together. And you try to motivate them and they don't do anything. And you get fucking pissed off about it. And then you get even more on fire. Because you're just like, oh my God, like, oh, I'm no longer average. Like, fuck being mediocre. Like, I'm a fucking savage. Let's go. Like, everybody knows that feeling. Like, everybody knows that feeling at the beginning of their fitness journey where they feel that way. Why isn't that all the time? At some point, like, progress slowed down and you're just like, all right, like, whatever, things are hard now. So, like, let me just, like, pick up other responsibilities in my life and be like, all right, like, I'm meant to just float now. I've kind of maxed out my progress. Like, I'm too advanced to make progress. And people will just make up bullshit fucking stories to just reaffirm them being stuck and them being comfortable. That's a scary place to be, because to me, that's just like you're silently giving up on yourself. Sure, you can make a lot of progress in other areas of your life, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, you're not going to be happy unless you're making progress with yourself. That's facts. And the only way you're going to make progress with yourself is to take risks. Is to fail. Is to fail on purpose. Is to get knocked down. Is when shit gets hard, instead of giving up, you go through it. You go through it. You build the stomach. You raise the water line for what you can handle in your life. And when you raise that water line, you build the stomach. You create an environment that can better handle stress. And if you can better handle stress, you can win. You can win big. You can accomplish a hell of a lot. You can lead others. You can be the one in your family. You can be the one in your life that people come to and be like, yo, I need some help. Will you help me? And that's fulfilling as shit. That's what we need more of in the world is leaders and people to help other people. That's what this world needs. And I want you to become that person. I know you can, but you got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to fucking fail. You can tell yourself stories all you want about why you can't do this, why you can't do that, and why this is scary and why that's scary, but like, fuck. It's going to eat you alive. Until you just decide to say, hey, like, I'm going to go through this. I'm not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Because the more imperfect I am, and the more willing I am to be imperfect, the more willing I am to grow, build my character, and become the person I want to be. Become unbreakable, become unstoppable. Man, the person that has failed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and has so many stories, I'm going to listen to that person. I'm going to listen big to that person. I'm going to aspire to be that person. I'm going to be inspired by that person. Go through it. Go through it. Build the fucking gut. You got this, my friend. I hope this message helps. Share it with a friend that needs to hear this shit, like for real. Share it to your Instagram story, and please tag me at Chad Morgan Fit, at Beyond Built Training. Guys, that mean the world to me. I really want to get these messages out there. Again, I think we live in a crazy time right now to where the world needs these fucking messages. I'm going to keep delivering, okay? Thank you guys so much again for listening to this episode, and we will see you in the next one.